Well, welcome to the 10-7 show. We are live back on the 10-7 show here on the New Twist Radio
What's up, y'all?
YouTube channel with
Hey.
Tara, Tyra, Goose, and myself. What's going on, everybody? Of course, you can
Hey.
check out this show and every show that airs on New Twist Radio on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Spreaker, Spotify, Deezer, and all that good stuff. A whole bunch of other ones that I didn't have room to put on that little overlay there. So, and soon we're looking to get on Amazon Podcasts as well for those that like to listen on there. But of course, as I always do, I like to start off the show by asking everyone, how have you been?
Great. I've been really good. How you been?
I've been good.
Yeah, we've been good.
How about you?
Maintaining.
I've been good. I can't complain.
Yeah.
God is good.
It was a nice weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful weather.
A little cold. I don't fool with the cold.
Yes,
Nah.
it's cold.
We're gonna put this right here.
That temperature dropped, and
We're gonna put that right there, and we're gonna because I don't trust that over there on top of my electronics.
are you serious?
I'm dead
So he
serious.
just gonna move my food.
It wasn't
Because of his
nobody knew
game
what it was.
console.
Nobody knew what it was.
Nobody
So
knew.
what?
Nobody knew. So Goose was saying something. Go ahead.
I said this cool weather allowed me to wear my new dapper.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Got to smooth it out.
There you go, Frank
Well,
over here.
Like, I don't even wear mine on. Like I just have it there. But welcome back to the 10-7 show. Let me stop leaning on the table and moving our camera. But welcome back to the 10-7 show. We are proud and happy to be here, and we want to thank you for supporting us.
Mhm.
And I'm a little down because the Eagles lost and the Cowboys won and all that. But
Oh, really?
oh my God, I don't even know why I mentioned it. But here we go. So what we are going to do is what we love to do, and everybody's favorite part of the show, and y'all know what that is. It is the Would You Rather segment of the show, and I believe Tara has the Would You Rathers ready for us, or at least one. So Tara, what you got?
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Goose go first because I'm such a lady.
Aw.
All right, so
Somebody said looking smooth, Goose.
thank you. So when I saw this one, I was like, we watched the show. It's both shows, so it'll be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Would you rather end up on the show My 600-Pound Life, including your bathing scene,
No.
or on the show Orders as someone who collects their own poop and pee
Oh no.
Wait a minute.
and
find this?
and stores them all over the place?
Nope. I don't want to do either one of those. Nope.
No.
Okay, well, all right. If I have to choose, I'm gonna say My 600-Pound Life because at least I could get help to fix that. That
Exactly.
important thing with feces and pee in your house,
In bags all over?
you need a special type of therapy to get over that.
If I'm going to be on 600-pound life, I want to be one of the people that's not the 600 pounds. Let me
Right,
just be
like,
one of the other people. I don't want to be the significant other either, though.
Why?
They always have a significant other who's
Always
They
have
always got a man. So eat
Yes.
the Twinkies, bro.
yes,
Eat the Twinkies.
yes, absolutely.
because they're mean to their significant others too. There's something wrong
They
with the
only
significant
mean when they
others,
don't
too.
get food.
So
But
mean.
listen,
I'm mean when I don't get food too.
Yes.
every time I see a woman post, how the women on 600-Pound Life got dudes.
Mhm.
And I asked them, do you want any of them dudes?
Nope. Not that one.
You see what Mia said?
See?
Just
I'm too immature for
She
this.
said I'm too immature for this question.
So am I. So am I, Mia.
Yeah, I don't want not near one of them dudes on my 600-pound life.
See?
Mm-mm.
It is.
So Tyra, what's your answer? Which show would you be?
If I had to choose, it would be my 600-pound life.
Totally.
I think that's my
Totally.
answer also. I'm not.
Because then I could get surgically fixed.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
the whole
Yeah.
purpose of the show.
Absolutely.
Right.
But you surgically fix your body, but they don't fix their mind.
That's right. That's exactly right.
No,
Give
Dr.
us your
Nazaraj,
name.
I sent him to go see, what's her name?
Oh yeah, Lola.
Lola.
Yeah, Dr.
Oh, that's the
Nazareth.
counselor, right? That's the
Yeah.
counselor.
Yeah.
Her name Lola?
Her name is
Yeah.
Lola with the hair. Okay.
Lola.
Say less. All right, you ready for the next one, guys?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you rather have $50,000 in cash or
Yes.
$500,000 in pennies?
$500,000
in pennies.
See, I got to do the math. On
No, man.
Why you gotta do the
Because
math?
how much
You
is
be rolling
$500,000 in pennies? Wait a minute.
pennies.
Oh, damn,
I'm
you gotta yell at me right
I'm mad
here.
you had to think about it.
Look, I'm still sending
You're the
out.
money man in this
I'm
marriage.
still trying to get people to tune into the show right
You're
now.
the money man in this marriage.
I'm working
We
on
taking
getting.
the 500,000 in pennies, and we going to the coin store.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
No,
you
you
coin
can't.
store.
You can't go to the coin store. You're gonna have to roll them and take them to the bank a little bit at a time, and just.
I know.
And the coin store going to take 7%.
The coin store is going to take your money.
I'm rolling them, Jones.
Yeah, roll them.
Oh,
Listen
okay.
here,
Well,
500,000. I had the chicks in the Jones like the Carter rolling pennies.
Oh,
but where are all those pennies going to go? Like, is that like a truckload of pennies?
Who of our listening
It's a
audience?
whole hell of a lot of pennies. Let's just say
Right,
that.
those pennies will probably fill up the whole house.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm gonna? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
What?
be swimming in them Jones like Scrooge McDuck. That's what
Oh
I'm doing.
yeah.
But you know when you try to jump in them pennies, you know what's gonna happen. You're gonna smack
Slap.
right in.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
gonna hurt.
But I tell you,
Yeah.
think about it. You got 500,000 pennies. I mean, if you do it right, you don't really got to work every month. You just roll up some pennies.
That's your job. Roll these pennies. It's a family task.
As long as
We're all
you don't roll
rolling
above
pennies.
your means.
You can stretch it. All right.
We can make it work.
That was
we
all
can
we
make it
had. I'm sorry I didn't have one that make you think a little harder.
Oh.
See, I wasn't because I was sending out the text message to people so people can watch. So I missed the
Actually-
actual part where it was like the $500,000.
No, I have one. I have a would you
Oh,
rather.
she has one. Okay.
I was ready. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
Would
about to mute her mic.
don't you mute my mic? You're so controlling on the radio.
Go ahead, Ty.
Okay, so
Radio.
would you rather be forced to dance every time you heard music, or be forced to sing along to any song you heard?
I sing along to every song I hear anyway, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with
Sing along.
But even if it's a song you don't like,
that. You hear it enough, you start to like it.
Yeah.
You tried it terrible.
really,
Oh,
you don't hear it after you told me I couldn't eat.
they're awful.
Oh my god.
You see how this works? That's why the fry was nasty, because you shouldn't have had it.
It's not crispy and nothing. Don't taste
I'm going
like,
to say sing along. I'm going to say sing along.
don't taste
too.
like memory foam.
Did you say it tastes like memory foam?
Yeah,
Can we start the show before it
It's
goes
choked like
off
memory
rails,
foam.
please?
It was awful.
He gonna tell me I can't eat my food. Okay, so listen, backstory. We
Yeah.
ordered food right before the show started. Well, I thought it would be here before the show started. It got
It
here
was.
like literally
A minute
55
30.
seconds
Yeah.
before the show started, and I didn't have time to take 8 bites. I said, I'm just gonna have to eat this. He talking about something. No, that's unprofessional. You can't.
No,
eat
because she was going to
eating
be on the
show.
joint like, hung.
No, I wasn't. I was hearing you on the camera. And then you were like, he actually did. He said, I can't stand you right now. Oh, now meanwhile, I'm over here starving.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
and then you try to. Oh,
You
I
gotta be
would,
more creative.
I would at least have the decency to dip out of camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
But
you
we'll
will.
still be
Bye.
able to hear you.
Don't be able to hear you.
No.
All right.
All right, can we focus, please? Can we
Yeah,
go
is it time to get back to the show?
Yeah.
into our show? So
Y'all want to do one more?
did you want to do? No, we did three. We did three.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's our topic tonight?
Did I answer any of the would you rather's?
No, because you was busy eating French fries and chicken.
Okay. Oh, so our topic today,
Mhm.
we're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tara, because we got a lot in the conglomerate.
busy
And they're
weekend.
all very related.
Yes.
We're talking about
Interracial relationship.
It's that chicken in his teeth. We're talking about interracial relationships
and parenting, raising
and parenting.
black and biracial children.
Yes, considering the climate
The climate.
that we're in today,
That's exactly what I was going to say.
the temperature of our nation.
I know it is. I know it was. And so, do you want to bring our guest in? Do you want to introduce our
Absolutely.
guest? Yeah.
Absolutely. We have two guests come in to talk about their particular lives and they're sharing their story with us. And of course, we want to thank them for being with us. We have Sarah and Chelsea are with us.
Hi guys.
Welcome to the 10-7 show, ladies.
Yeah.
Hey, happy to be here.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
being with
coming
us.
on. So I just want to start off by saying I guess we can discuss the the relationship piece first. I just wanted to say one thing, and then I'll turn it over to Chelsea and Sarah. But basically, we're starting this off with the relationship piece, like I said, and just a talking piece. It is very rewarding to love someone who is different from you in terms of race, culture, identity, religion, and more. When we are open with each other, we can broaden each other's perspectives, approach in the world in different ways, and even find there is a connection in our differences. So I saw that and I really loved it. It made me like think about what we're talking about now. So if it's okay, I'd like to start with Miss Sarah. If you want to give us a little bit of background on your relationship, your marriage, and how that came to be, how you met him, and you can take it from there.
Can we talk about the Eagles for a second, though? Or are we just
Absolutely.
we're just like going?
Please,
you know?
let's talk about the Eagles. Go ahead.
If you're the guest, if we must. Wait a minute. Whoa.
He's
Before
sore
we
right
start,
now. He's sore, y'all.
Before we start, are you an Eagles fan?
It has to do with my interracial marriage and relationship. Yes, I'm an Eagles fan only because of him. Yeah,
Okay.
So it's been 13 years of me being an Eagles fan. And it's not been very fun. You know, you guys, you know what it's been like, but yeah.
Outside of 1 year, it has not been fun.
Exactly, but that 1 year was amazing.
That 1 year was great.
That 1 year was
Yes,
so
it
great.
was. We actually got married in that year.
Yeah, we did.
So
they won because of us.
Well, of course, but all the bars in Hoboken, you know, are closed like everywhere else, and they close off the streets here, and they put the tables and the TVs out in the middle of the street. So it's like these streeteries, whatever.
Right.
But they're like, you can't do the Eagles chant because of the neighbors, and I'm like, why? It's the best part, but we're not doing a lot of them anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not this year, not yet.
So back to it.
Yeah.
So I was with a Black man for 10 years total. We were married for 4 of those years. We met, he was my trainer at the gym. And in the beginning, it was, you know, it was just how any other relationship is. He's the first person of color that I had dated or I had been with. And it was more than an eye-opening experience for me in the first few years. You know, I mean, I don't know what kind of questions or where we want to go, but, you know, for me as a white person, never experienced racism in my life until I was out with my ex. You know, and I can give examples of it and everything, but
well, yeah, because that was one of my questions. Like, what challenges did you face?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you have these challenges as a relationship, right? As a couple in the world, and then you have this added thing of, oh my God, you know, like growing up here right outside of New York City, it never dawned on me that like this would be a problem ever until I was actually living it. So yeah, you know, like he was very attuned to it, of course, because this has been his life and I am now, but in the beginning I wasn't. Now I can smell it from 10 miles away in all kinds of subtle ways. It's everywhere. Everything.
But you never noticed it before because
I never had to.
Yeah.
Because I live in this world of ignorance. I mean, like I live outside of New York City my entire life. You know, my parents brought me to Yankee games since I was 5 years old. My high school was white. You know, my college was white. It was just one of those things. I was like, well, it happened and it's not really happening now. You know, like there's no institutional racism. Like I didn't even know what that meant. I had no clue. When I went out in the professional world, I saw it there too. You know, how colleagues I'm working side by side with and I'm getting promoted and he's not because this guy I was working next to is Black or whatever it was. It was just, you know, I became so much more attuned to it. So I don't know if, I don't know how far more you want to get into it, but.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let me ask Chelsea. If we can, her experiences. How did you meet your significant other, and did you have any challenges that you faced right away that you weren't even aware of?
We met in high school. We were both working at a fondue restaurant.
Oh, nice.
The Melting Pot. We got to know each other that way. We went to different high schools and stayed together through college and got married right after college. My experience is a little different. Tara, as you know, I have 21 siblings. 20 are adopted. My siblings are all different racial backgrounds. So I've been very familiar with living with people of various ethnic backgrounds my entire life. We used to live in Vermont, which was predominantly white, and experienced a lot of racism. Not me directly, but indirectly through my siblings. And then we moved to Philadelphia when I was 12, into the Mount Airy section of Philadelphia, which was and still is very integrated. And then I started 7th grade, where I was one of 4 white students. So it was like a complete, reversal.
Right.
And then I went to Creative and Performing Arts High School, which was like a really, mixed experience there. So I feel like I've always sort of been aware of race because of my background, more so than some white people, I would say.
Right. So did you ever, your background, your experience is different from Sarah's, of course, but when you and your significant other were together, did you experience like rejection from either side, from friends? Did you experience any like negativity coming from even strangers? Did you experience any of that? Were you aware of it, or was it just par for the course?
Not in the beginning, I'd say, because also like all of my relationships were inner that word that I'm messing up right now. So when I finally at one point dated a white man, all my friends were like shocked, like, what are you doing? So it was like kind of not, but as I got older and more aware, I feel like, there's a lot of stereotypes and judgment and on both sides, like, why is the black man with the white woman?
Right.
Does he have a problem with black women? And for the white woman, why is she going after the black man? And there's sexual innuendos on that front and like all sorts of things like that.
Right. All right. And when you, Sarah and Chelsea both, when you knew you were going to marry, did you worry or were you fearful about bringing kids into this world, what you would experience as the mother of biracial children, or what your kids would have to go through, especially if, I know all of your kids. Well, Sarah's my cousin, so of course her son's my cousin. But when your kids are not with you, like for instance, Chelsea, when Chloe's not with you, people at home, people on the street do not know that her mother is white. She does not. She looks like a light-skinned black child to me. Jackson does as well, but is that ever a fear of yours that like something could go in the wrong direction and nobody knows when they're not with you? So how did you prepare yourself for that, or how do you prepare them for that?
For me personally, I had, I didn't even think about it at all, and here it's like I'm about to bring this boy into the world, right? So I completely immersed myself in everything I could read, everything I could, watch on TV. I started with education. I started with education in the United States. What it's, the discrepancies between Black people, people of color, and the experiences that they've had and the opportunities that they've had, higher rates of detention, higher rates of suspension. It became very important to me for Jackson to go to a school that had people of color in a position of authority, like the principal, teachers, of course. Mm-hmm. So that was my first, real immersion into it. And then from there became, I have to know everything. So it was like 451 years of, just trying to find out every single thing I could. And, even my daughter, who's white, she's from a previous relationship. She's like, you don't have to like scour the whole world. Like, you don't have to become an expert in it. And I'm like, I kind of do. Like, I absolutely do. I need to know how to raise my kid. Right. I know how to raise her. Absolutely know how to raise her, but I didn't know how to do his hair. I didn't know like what special things he might need, just beauty products, first of all. But then it was like, well, how am I going to teach him what to do around police officers and what to do when he's walking down the street with his friends and when he's breathing, when he's sleeping in the bed. You know what I mean? It's a constant worry, like as any parent, but I think especially of a parent of a child of color is you have to take it to a different level.
Right. Chelsea, how did you feel about, when you were bringing kids into the world? What was your thought?
Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time, to be honest. And also another funny fact about my family is almost all of my Black siblings have white spouses or partners. So their children are all biracial. So all the grandkids all look exactly alike. They all look different. So there had already been a lot of interracial children in my family for a long time. So it kind of felt like just that was the way our family was moving forward, kind of. But now with Chloe getting older, I mean, I worry a lot, especially with the current racial climate in the country. And her as a Black woman, just catching, the bus to school and just how she's treated by professors if she's one of only a few Black kids in the class and that sort of thing.
Now, I had a quick question for Chelsea, and it's a little bit off topic, but I'm dying to know this. You have 21 siblings. What was that house like?
Crazy. I mean, you always had a friend. You always had someone to fight with, and I mean, I think at most we had 17 to 18 in the house, and I say I'm a middle child because I'm like smack dab age-wise in the middle. So yeah, we had huge amounts of food, but you ate all of your food because you don't want to miss out.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And for Sarah, the both of you, your I'm gonna say introduction into I guess the African American culture, in a sense, you took different paths. Right. Chelsea, it was you had siblings. Sarah, it was through dating. Now with your the research you were doing, Sarah, like when did you realize, because you said you never had dealt with like racism growing up, at what point did you realize, was it your husband that kind of instilled that to you, that things are going to be different for us and our child, or was that something that you like, how when did that come into your mind? When did that enlightenment come?
Yeah, it wasn't that I just didn't, I had no experience with racism. It's just like I was completely like didn't even believe it existed anymore. So for me, it was like, exactly. We'd be walking down the street and he'd be like, "Did you see that woman just cross the street because she saw us?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't even notice that." It was things like this. It wasn't until, and this is a story I've told a million times, but it wasn't until we were at a Yankee game and I was there with my dad and my daughter. This was before we were married and before I was pregnant, and my husband. And behind us were these 4 drunk white guys, Italian. And throughout the game, they're just like hassling. And all of a sudden one of them's like, "Yo, did you hear that there's a special up at the concession stand?" And the other guy's like, "No, I didn't hear." "Yeah, it's a fried chicken, watermelon, and grape drink." And my dad looks over at Chad, and I'm sorry, he looks over at my ex, and he was like, "It's time to go." And my ex is like holding on to the seats, like white knuckling, like, he's ready to like throw this kid. So the kids got ejected for life from Yankee Stadium, but still, that was the first time. And I'm like, I'm here with my 9-year-old daughter, my father, who's an old man, and like these are like great seats, in Yankee Stadium. It's like it's everywhere. Yeah. So that for me, that was it was so horrible. It was so disgusting. And that for me was the moment of clarity where I was like, this is reality for my son. Like, this is reality for my husband at the time, but this is going to be reality for my family. So my parents are, they've learned a lot. My daughter is incredibly sensitive to it, but that was pretty bad. It was
like an eye opener. More like a smack in the face, really.
Right, but it's like you know, that's
Yeah.
something that he'd been dealing with his entire life, every single
Right.
day. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I would like.
Yeah, I do.
I would like
Yeah.
to say, excuse me, that I grew up in the same neighborhood as Chelsea, right? So the schools that I went to from preschool through high school were really mixed, right? The neighborhood I grew up was really mixed. And I remember that an article was written in the Philadelphia Inquirer. My grandmother saved it, and I wish I knew where it was today, but it went on to say how West Mount Airy was integrated back in the 50s and how everybody lived together peacefully and how everybody lived in harmony. I personally did not experience racism, and I knew it was around. I was aware of it. I knew how it was. I never experienced it until I was 26 years old, and we had moved into our first home together. And it wasn't directed at me; it was directed at my sister-in-law, his sister, who was coming to see us. That was the very first time, because the neighborhood I grew up in, everybody loved everybody. It was, you know what I mean? Like, it may have been like an Asian or a Hispanic kid sprinkled in here and there, but it was like white and black people living together in harmony. I lie to you not. It was like utopia. I did not experience racism growing up. And just like you, I was like, oh, it's gone. It's dead and gone. It's over. Couldn't have been more wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Mm.
So I'm sorry. I have a question for both of you. Like what do you tell your children? Like, how do you even feel equipped to talk to your children about this? Or what have your children and vice versa, like what have they been saying to you? Like, how are they feeling right now? Like, have they even talked to you about it?
Like the current climate?
Yeah, with the current climate. And what do you say?
Well, you know what? Can I interject here? Sarah, I don't know if you want to say, her son is a little younger, so I don't know how much you told him, Sarah. If you want to.
No, we, with all of it, I think Michael Brown might have been when my son was a baby. Michael Brown was killed, but I feel like it's been part of his life, like police murders of Black people, especially Black men. I don't sugarcoat anything, and neither does his father. Mm-hmm. He asked me why the media makes such a big deal about one person. Mm-hmm. And that he was kind of like, ugh, like, why do we have to keep talking about this? Like, why? It's just one person. And that was sort of eye-opening for me too. Mm-hmm. But they were protests in town. We mm-hmm. didn't go to them, but we were able to watch from the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. But I know he's young. He'll be 8 soon, but I'm already talking to him about, like, if you get stopped, you stop. You don't walk, you don't run, you keep your hands here. You don't, I tell my friends, if your son is out with my son and they get stopped by anybody, please make sure you tell your son not to leave my son. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that.
Tough. Yeah,
that's tough.
And that's true. Like that's for real. And 8 years old,
you can't stop.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you can at 8 years old, you will get stopped by the police.
Mm-hmm. I don't have him play with guns. Like Tamir Rice was killed he had a toy gun. Like, I don't let Jackson play with any guns.
No, we've never let Eli play. Not even a water gun.
No, you can't. I mean, in video games it's kind of hard, but yeah, I think he's had to grow up a lot faster than my daughter. Yeah. But I want to keep him alive, so I don't know.
Yeah. Same question for you, Chelsea. How do you handle the girls with the protests and all?
They're very much aware, for better or worse. I think I have a fairly political family, so it's not just me that they're hearing it from. And they have attended protests mm-hmm. with me, made signs, watched movies. We watch movies together. They don't particularly love my movie choices, where they learn something, right. But they do learn something. So, and I think they've been sort of in that Mount Airy bubble too, and have not really experienced racism towards them, which I'm thankful for. Right. But they are aware of what's happening in the world.
Right. So, when you talk to your children about race and how they identify, are you seeing anything Okay, so Chelsea, for your oldest child, are you seeing how she identifies, or has she ever spoken to you about that?
We've talked about it, and I think she identifies herself more as Black because that's how people see her. But I think that, you know, my younger daughter, she's a whole free spirit. So she just identifies as her at this point. I don't even. Yeah, but especially depending on the climate. And I have to say, I noticed when Chloe was younger, she didn't gravitate towards any race.
Mm-hmm.
As she's gotten older, I feel like her friend group has become more and more Black.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's intentional or that's where she feels more comfortable, but I have noticed that.
Yeah. I have a friend who both of her sons are biracial and they look Black. And I remember her posting, this was a while ago, she posted on Facebook that her son finally opened up to her and said that he wanted to go to a historically Black college or university, but he was scared to tell her because he didn't want her to be upset. Mm-hmm. And would it be okay with her if he applied to HBCUs? And she was like, you know, absolutely. I want you to be happy doing whatever it is that you want to do. And if this is what makes you comfortable, this is where you want to be, then by all means, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What about you, Sarah? How do you think, or Jackson's probably too young to even really.
He knows. He's like, well, how come I can't be like white power, mama? Like, how come, like, what's the white power sign?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't upset Uncle
Oh, and already he's like this, mama, the Black power sign. Because he's doing remote class for school, he's like, this is how we tell the teacher we got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, Jack, okay. But no, he's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's like 7.5, 8. You know what I mean? But he's pretty clued in. He's pretty clued into it all.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think this question could be really addressed to all of us, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think it takes to raise Black and biracial children to be confident, strong, aware, and most important, safe in today's world?
Wow.
I think that's something I'd rather hear what you guys have to say on that one.
That is a lot. But
I could say, well, my daughter, she's Black. But yes. Oh, she's not biracial. I'll say it like that.
Don't tell her.
But she goes to a private Catholic school where, of course, she is a minority. And I was very concerned. The education is great. I've heard wonderful things about the school, but I was concerned about how my daughter would be treated at this school. Would they fail her or try to fail her just because, she's a Black girl? Because unfortunately, it happened to me when I was younger. Because I went to a majority white school in a Jewish neighborhood. And they tried to fail me and say I needed to go to summer school. And then when I got to summer school, I tested out of summer school. So I just wanted to put that out there. I was just concerned. Like, I didn't want that to happen to her.
Right.
I didn't want subtleties, the covert racist things that people do that she wouldn't be able to pick up on. Mm-hmm. I didn't want that to happen to her. So what I just talk to her. I don't sugarcoat anything with her, and thank God, like, her school really, they do teach about racism to the children. And it was so funny that when she was younger, she may have been about 7 or 8, I asked her to clean her room. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, Mommy, I'm not a slave anymore. The white people used to make the Black people clean. Why do I have to clean my room? Yes, she did. But I mean, I could appreciate, so I had to sit down and put it in the context for her. Mm-hmm. But I don't sugarcoat it. She's mature enough to understand. Fortunately, I was raised by a wonderful retired police detective. She's a Black female. So I know that all cops aren't racist and all cops aren't bad. And so I let her know, who her grandmother was and what she did. And, there's good people and bad people of every race. And so those are some of the things I teach her. I was concerned about her hair. So I taught her early on to be proud of her hair in its natural state. I didn't want her to feel pretty only when she had a weave in. I was concerned about that because I mean, some people don't even know what they look like without a weave. And so I was concerned about that. And she's grown. I mean, she has blossomed so much and she's so mature and she's handled it so well. And I think sometimes we as parents underestimate what our children can handle.
Yeah.
Children are very resilient.
Yeah.
They pay attention. And even when you think they're not listening, they're listening. And so I've talked to her, about the police and
Can I step in real quick? I want I'm gonna.
But I think she did well. I think a lot of times we underestimate what our children can handle regarding this topic. And if you put it to them nice, don't sugarcoat it, but let them know, this is what's going on. We're not here anymore. We're not in the shackles anymore on cotton fields, but this is where we are now. And then it's your job, to keep us moving forward as you grow older. And she understands that, and she does well, and she does beautifully. But go ahead, babe.
What you were gonna say?
You talk about the dolls?
No, I'm not gonna talk about the dolls. So actually today I was gonna bring this up to you a little later on, but I'll bring it up on the show. And the people watching, y'all can let us know what you think. So I was gonna bring this up to you later. And her and I were talking that we were all together today for an event today. And there was an incident that happened at the event, right? And I'm not going to put everything out there, but we were waiting for the police to show up, right? It took forever, right? So the daughter and myself, we were standing there. It was just us. We were talking, and she says to me, "Why do they treat us so different?"
Wow.
And I said, "Wow." I said, I don't know. And she said, this is the part I wanted to bring up to you. She said, next time that we have the police day at our school, I'm going to ask them why they treat us so different.
Oh, yeah, she did say that. She did.
Okay, cool.
She did.
I was like, all right, cool.
And I said,
you let me know what the answer
what they said.
I said,
but what she did say, she said the teacher's probably going to try to stop me from asking the question. I said, you ask the question, you let me know what they said.
Yeah.
Well, tell Christian if they screen her question, lie.
Don't tell the baby.
Tell him you want to ask her about how she can become a police officer. And then when she get the mic, you spit the truth.
I told her there's a time and a place for every question. She did say something to me about it. And I told her to make sure if she talks about it, to talk about it respectfully, because she is a Black woman. So I had to prepare her for the fact that she's going to be called an angry Black woman. And I don't want her to seem like that even as a child. Right. So I tell it's okay for you to ask questions, but just make sure you ask your questions respectfully. Right. And she was like, yeah, because if they get nasty with me, then they're going to have to deal with you. I said, that's right. Because mommy will be there.
Oh, that's so sweet. There was a comment, Justin, down there. Somebody made a comment.
Yeah, Tanya said, sometimes people don't even recognize their racism. They can be your friend because they think you're not that type of Black.
Yeah, right, right.
What is that type of Black? I don't need. What is?
Well, that's a term that has been used. So it's like if you ask somebody and they'll say, "Well, he's Black, but he's not that Black.
He's not Black.
He's not that type of Black."
People used to say to my ex all the time, "You're the whitest Black guy I've ever met."
Oh,
I mean, right? Like that's the kind of thing, and I know that like
that's my man, but
well,
I mean, right. That's another story.
What?
Goose.
I mean, he is my cousin.
But that's besides the point. You can't say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a
right.
That's,
there's certain. It insinuates certain things, right?
But that just shows how we judge people by the way they act.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like saying. Like when somebody is, let's say a Black person is talking to somebody and they said the other person's response is, "Oh, you speak so well."
Yeah, I have gotten that all my life.
Yeah,
I've gotten that from family members that'll be like, "Well, call me out of the blue. Can you call? I'm trying to get an apartment. Can you call and pretend right?" But here's the thing, Sarah. I sound like this my whole life. I don't know
how to sound anywhere else.
That's how my daughter is. She sounds that way.
So I had a situation once. One time I was working for Nike Golf, and I was at Golf Galaxy, one of them golf shops, selling this golf club. And I think I went on a break. I went out to my car to get something. And as I'm going back into the store, this older white gentleman comes to me and he just looks at me and says, "I'm very proud of you." I don't know this man. Okay. I don't know him. I never met him in my life. I'm out in wherever that is where Sesame Place is. I'm out in that area.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm proud of you.
Well, that was nice.
I said, okay, thanks. But like, why are you proud? Like, why are you proud of me? Like, what are you proud of? I don't know you. And it was because I was a black man working in the golf world.
You weren't threatening.
I guess that maybe that's what it was. I wasn't like that was the strength. I didn't see it as racism. Somebody's told me it was, but I didn't see it as racism. But I thought I found it very strange that this man I've never seen before in my life. You proud of him? Give me a job, homie. I mean, I don't know, but
I just want to know, like, what? I don't know, like, what? Yeah, like, what about me is threatening? Like,
I can tell you.
No, she said, well, I don't know. Sarah, have you ever met Tyra? Have you guys ever met at a family function? I don't know. Like,
I don't think so. I was going to ask if we could talk about those family functions too, but like,
yeah.
No, I don't know if we've ever met. I'm like, that's another part of this, like, whole, with the families and stuff. It's like the culture shock of like me coming to your house for the first time, and it's like everybody in the world is there, and happy birthday to Tanya. But everybody in the world is there, and like y'all are playing music that I've never danced to before, and everybody knows the dance, and I'm like, okay, this is what I gotta learn. I gotta learn how to make the mac and cheese. I gotta learn how to dance.
But I did mac and cheese. But I did mac and cheese.
Hold on, Sarah. I'm gonna tell you right now, Sarah. I probably don't know the dance either.
No.
Only one I know is the Cupid shove. If it don't have directions in it, I don't know.
See? That's it. Like that, you go to a wedding, like that was different for me. A funny story about my ex father-in-law. When he was really sick, he passed away from cancer, but he was really sick, and I was out in the yard raking and like doing some yard work, just trying to like burn off some energy because I can't sit still. And he said to my ex mother-in-law, he's like, "I like seeing a white woman out in my yard doing work."
It totally sounds.
I was like, "I'll do it all the time, man." He's like, "You whatever you want. Just like, I know you're going through some stuff. I'll go out there. I'll do it." Yeah. So it's like, it's like,
that's awesome. Chelsea, how did your in-laws embrace you? Were you new to that, or was your significant other? Did he always?
They embraced me to the point where I swear I share custody with them. Like, really? I don't even know what size shoes my kids wear because my mother-in-law buys all their shoes.
Are your kids her first grandchildren?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so she.
Well, I can't say that. My daughter's
and my father-in-law, he's at every soccer game that they have. I mean, they're the best, and they have a really small family, so it hasn't been as much. But then my experience is just so different because of my family's cookouts. I mean, there's no majority race at all, so everybody kind of fits in, but. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So does your family
terrible at the line dances?
I was gonna say, did your family do the electric slide?
all of them, the Cuban shuffle, like everything. And I do it for like 2 minutes, and then I shuffle the wrong way, and then I sit down.
That's one of the ones that has directions on it, though.
To learn those dances on YouTube, I told my girlfriends. Which almost all my girlfriends that I went to Arcadia, which used to be Beaver College, shout out to those days, are Black, and they are, in their hearts they know I'm white, but they call me Mexico or Puerto Rico to like, cover the fact that they have such a good white friend, I think. And so they keep telling me I need to learn those dances. So
it's so funny how like, I mean, when you find somebody that you like and you gravitate towards. Now, for Chelsea and I, we became friends because our kids were friends. But I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know you're white, but I love you as a person. Like, you are just a thorough person. So I don't even see, like, yeah, I know she's white, but that's my homie. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's who said is she? Do you hear him? Next time you see him, Chelsea, smack him. And the same thing with Sarah. Like, I loved Sarah from day one. I was like, this is my cousin. This is always gonna be my cousin. So, like, I mean,
yeah, you guys welcomed me. Like it was like,
yeah, we don't. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's weird. So, like, I don't get the, like, the hate. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird.
I think it comes from insecurity. Some of my family in Vermont that, I've had to cut some of them off on social media, but I see the things and I'm just like, how can you think that? How can you believe that? And then they seriously think they're not racist, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's because
it's their norm.
Is so normal to them, they can't even see that is wrong. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I mean, there's certain norms in every culture. There's certain norms amongst Black people I think is a tad racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we need people like us and you guys to call our family and friends out. Like, yo,
absolutely,
dude, like,
as we should. Yep.
I'm doing the same with my white friends, my white girlfriends, and all the moms in town. I'm like, okay, can you find the hidden racism? And like, take a screenshot of something. Like, what's racist in this picture?
Wow,
and,
smart.
Yeah, there's my small group of friends. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that with everybody, but it's like, it's everywhere, and yeah.
So, all right. Well, those are all the questions that I had. Oh wait, Goose has a question.
Chelsea, I know your mom and pop just they got like a Winnebago and right?
Got an RV, yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, do they have like I want to follow like their adventure.
They should do that.
They should do that.
They should.
Wait, I got this is race related. They did a trial run because they're going to actually live in the RV. They're giving up their apartment. They're not going to have a home base, but they're trying to find one like close to Philly, so they can sort of have a campground as like their home base close to Philly. So they tried this one in New Jersey last week and the weekend before, and my girls and I went to spend a night with them. It was all, not to make this political, but it was all Trump flags, a few of the whatchamacallit flags, Confederate
flag.
The campsite, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to be your home base.
No.
And the campsite right next to ours, they ended up having a really late, long party, and we could hear them loudly, angrily talk. This was the NFL had debuted Thursday night, so this was Friday night, and they were like, can you believe they played the Black national anthem? They're just pandering to people and blah blah. They were going on and on about how upset they were.
Wow.
And so I think they're gonna have some interesting camping adventures when it comes to race. But
Justin, somebody is asking a question of Sarah.
Yeah, somebody from our Facebook 10-7 Facebook group. Join the 10-7 Facebook group if you haven't done that yet. What do you do? And this is for, of course, Sarah and Chelsea, our guests. What do you do to cope with the stresses of raising biracial children?
It's stressful to raise children, period.
That's true. That is true. So, I mean, I guess, Sarah, we can start, but I know you kind of, you were talking about some of the things that you had to learn and stuff like that. But, I'm sure there's had probably some type of level of stress that goes into, that went from you going from your norm, what you knew as your norm, to what you know as the norm now. So, how have you coped with some of the stresses of that?
Not well, I get so angry and it's hard for me to let things go. But as cliche as this is going to sound, my best friend is Black, and she's married to a white guy. So, and they have children together. So I'm so lucky in that regard that I can just call her and, we both can bitch about it, or we both can complain or find a solution together. So I'm very lucky in that regard that I have somebody right here. But there's a lot of groups that I'm, Facebook groups, There's a lot of blogs and, resources online. But other than like trying to deal with life as everybody else is right now in times of coronavirus, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just like, you just try to find it wherever you can. Sometimes I'll eat a lot of cookies and or whatever, but
Same.
Send us some.
yes, I have to.
Yes,
But
please.
I think it's best to talk to people, and I know like
Oh, yeah.
I could call up Tara and Goose anytime and, and talk about whatever. But
Yep.
yeah, I think that's where I go first.
How about you, Chelsea? How do you deal with the stresses?
I tend to be like really action oriented, so I get involved. Like I'm the president of the board of my daughter's school, my younger daughter's school, because I was irritated with a bunch of things. Tara and Goose know all about that. But one of the things was race, and we've now made it a very focused effort to recruit more Black teachers, first and foremost, integrate the curriculum. So like I try to point my stress in an actionable way whenever possible.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
We had another question come in from Mia. How do you explain to your Black kids that some white women can be dangerous, the Karens of the world, when you are white? She says, "I'm a white mom of a Black son." Anybody want to take a stab at that? That's an interesting question.
Interesting question.
I mean, I think the Karens could be Karen or Ken, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would differentiate teaching them about white women and white men.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like right now, like we see a lot of the white women, they call them Karens, but it's not just the women, but we see more of them. We see more of them right now on like Instagram and social media and stuff.
Well, isn't that like, I guess the white women are more, or well, seemingly are more apt to call the police on Black men, and
maybe,
tend to be believed more that they're being harmed. When they call, because I mean we saw it in action,
like the white women tears, and how they've been used as weapons against Black people since the beginning.
Especially Black men, because you couldn't look at a white woman, or you would be years ago you would be hanged or tied to the train track. So I think that mindset is still, because she knew I'm going to tell the police that a Black man is harassing me, and she knew. So I think that's where she's getting to the point of I have no answer to that.
Can you bring it back up again, Justin, so I can see it?
Sure.
Okay.
So how do you explain to your Black kids that some white women can be dangerous? I mean, anybody can be dangerous.
Right.
I don't think you got to play. Yeah. I mean, anybody, even family members, like when it comes to.
But like they were saying, don't sugarcoat it. Like you can't don't sugarcoat it. Because if something happens to them, they're not gonna know how to handle it. They're gonna be like, well, what do I do?
Right.
There's another comment down there.
Tanya says it's not only the Karens of the world who sometimes cry rape as well. That's a more adult conversation to have. Yeah, absolutely.
I told my daughter about tricky people. Yeah. I saw a parent talk about it actually on Facebook, how, because a lot of times, when kids are molested, it's usually somebody that they know. And so she taught her kids how to recognize tricky people, even if it's a family member.
Okay.
And so I took that advice and I talked to my daughter about tricky people. And I told her, tricky people can sometimes it could be your uncle, somebody you really know. And I taught her how to pay attention to her body and her gut feeling. You know what I mean? If you're around somebody or somebody's doing something and you don't feel right, you get this weird feeling. And I got up to her so that she could feel what it's like to feel uncomfortable. And I said, when you feel that, you know what I mean? You let me know. You get away from the person.
Yeah.
I had to let her know. And I think you can apply that to anybody. There's tricky people it's bad men. There's bad women. There's bad kids.
Right.
I taught her how to be attuned with her environment.
I guess in instances where we see time and time again, especially this past summer, where, the police are being called because a Black family's having a barbecue, or the police are being called because the Black man is doing gardening outside of his house. Like how do you prepare as parents? Like, how do we prepare our kids for that so that they don't wind up hurt? Do you know what I mean?
And some things you can't prepare your kids for.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
You
But
gotta
you
get
gotta
ready for
let
everything.
them know
in
that.
that area is more so like educating other white people I know not to be Karen.
Exactly.
And
That's where I
if
think.
you see a situation where you feel threatened, what are some alternatives to calling the police?
Well, let's
Yeah,
talk
or
about
just calling them out.
Mind your own business. So many
What
alternatives.
Right.
Like
True.
calling them out, it's like
Right,
when we have a high school in town, right? Like we have a high school. There's only really one public high school in our town. Majority of the kids are free reduced lunch, right? So they're living below the poverty line. They're children of color. I see these kids. My daughter went to the high school, and everyone gets out of school at the same time. There's a group of teenagers. They're all black and brown. There's a group of white moms going to the playground on the other side of the street, and it's like, if those kids were white, are you going to have that same kind of attitude? Are you going to get that same kind of scared feeling? Like, are you going to, like, we all live in this one tiny little town,
Right.
So you gotta check your friends too. You gotta like call them out right away to get them unkarened or something.
And
All right,
check your emotions. Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Mhm.
Why do you feel scared when you see Black people?
Right.
What is it about you that what is it
Mhm.
about you that raises that emotion up?
Especially
Like,
if
are
you've
you
never
really
had
being
an
threatened?
encounter.
Yeah.
Right. If these kids are playing on the playground, they're not saying anything to you, they're not doing anything. Is that
They're
really
being
a threat?
teenagers.
Yeah.
They're just being teenagers. You know what I mean? It's like they're being typical teenagers doing typical teenage things, but because they're black or brown, it becomes a different problem.
Right. You see this here.
Oh,
There's another comment.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just a thought. Black people are raised to recognize aggression, while others see our mere presence as aggression.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
That could be true as well. That could
Yeah.
be true as well.
Yeah, so I just think it
mean-
needs to be education on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had plenty of situations where people cross the street.
Or grab onto their purse a little tighter.
Yeah.
Well,
You are
listen,
scary
Yo,
looking.
one time.
you're a big Black man, okay?
One
He's
time.
scary looking.
I was walking. We
It's
trying to
not
go to
scary
work.
looking to me.
Well,
This lady locked all 4 doors, and they wasn't automatic lock.
Oh, yeah, she was like,
click, click, click.
It happened. It
And if
happened.
you
I
know
was there.
Zeus,
You should have walked up to the car door like, "Ah!"
Look at it.
she would have a heart attack.
Yeah.
No, I do. Sometimes I do that to old ladies. When they walk near my car, I lock the doors.
You're such a jackass.
Y'all hit the bing bang.
Listen,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to get ready to wrap it up, but I want our guests to answer the would you rather.
Yeah, you read my
yeah.
mind. You read my mind.
All
Great
right.
minds think
God.
Do
alike.
you guys remember what the would you rather's are, ladies?
I want them to. I want
Question.
them to answer the one about the 600-pound life or
Oh, okay.
hoarders.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, Goose had it and he lost it.
So I mean, I think I
I got
remember
it.
it.
I got it.
Oh, he got it. He got it.
So, would you rather end up on the show My 600-Pound Life, including your bathing scene, or on the show Hoarders as someone who collects their own poop and pee in plastic grocery bags and stores them all over the place?
Yo, that's white people. I can't say that.
Yo, oh my god.
You know, I had
I mean-
What's your answer? You gotta answer one.
If I'm gonna be on the 600-pound life, I want to be 600 pounds. I got to take it to that extreme because I'm just be like, I'll lay it all out there.
Yep,
But there's no way I'm collecting like
Pee and
no,
poop.
no,
Right.
Yeah.
So
no.
gross.
That's
So gross.
crazy white people stuff.
But I would love to have my 600-pound bathing scene on the gym. Like I would find it and watch it again.
Ew.
Gross.
You gotta go to the wash.
I really don't know. That's a draw, man. That's a draw. As someone who's recently lost 50 pounds
Yes.
and went through Marie Kondo, my lifestyle, they are both. I was never a hoarder though, so that but still,
Yeah.
both of those things are hard. But I think I'd go with hoarders because I feel like I could. Physical effects on your body and how long you'll live with 600 pounds.
Well, it's,
Yeah, but you're on the show.
Yeah, but you
so
know
you'll
what?
be getting the surgery.
Even
And you
still,
won't be 600 pounds for long.
even
Like
still,
the
you know
damage
what?
to your heart long term. I don't know.
Plus, on Hoarders, they do come in with the 800 junk people and clean you out. So
Right.
maybe
Yeah,
Free house
yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with hoarders, you got to fix up here.
same thing with the 600-pound life. You gotta fix up here.
Yeah, but I think 600-pound life up here may be a little bit. First of all,
Yeah.
if you start storing poop and pee,
Yeah, I mean,
there might not be no help for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
You might need some medication. Prozac
Right,
and Prin.
Here's the second would you rather. Would you rather have $50,000 in cash or $500,000 in pennies?
Pennies.
I would take the cash, invest it, and flip it. I don't have time to deal with all
She's
those
so
pennies.
smart.
I would waste more of my life dealing with those pennies that I could get interest. I could buy property. I could sell that property.
Nah.
No,
I got nothing to do. I need to roll up.
If I took a whole month off for work and counted that $500,000 in pennies, in 30 days I had $500,000.
You do that.
She said you do that.
If you took that $50,000, how much and invested it? How much would you have at the end of 30 days?
I don't know, but
I would invest in marijuana stock. They are going up.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, don't
Yeah,
forget
They're going up in more ways than one.
up there.
Yeah.
Yes. That stock is really high.
Yep. Ladies, I'm so glad y'all came on
How
our
high
show.
is it?
Ha ha ha.
You hear me, Sarah and Chelsea?
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you,
anytime.
ladies.
I'm so glad for y'all. I love
Thank
you
you for bringing
both.
this up. Thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you
This is
for
a good
having
place.
us.
Yeah,
Take care.
thanks.
Take
So-
care.
Bye,
Right.
guys.
See ya.
And they were awesome guests. We appreciate
Yeah.
them for being on. And of course, we appreciate all of you for being with us here on the 10-7 show, right here on New Twist Radio's YouTube channel. If you look right up there,
See ya.
see you can
Oh,
catch
I
us.
see it. Yeah.
You can catch us on
Up there.
Oh, up here.
Up
Yeah.
there.
Up there, above our heads.
Up there.
You didn't-
I was pointing at the bell. I was somewhere
Oh yeah.
else.
Ding
Click the
ding.
bell.
All right,
With the
just
parentheses.
read the thing that's up there. And you can catch us on all those places, all those platforms, the 10-7 show, as well as New Twist Radio. And if you have a story that you want us to talk about and you want our opinion and the family's opinion on, send us an email. It will be anonymous. I promise you that. Send us an email at the 10-7show@gmail.com.
I check it. Don't waste my time. Come on, people.
I actually got a few that came my way that were not emails, but I got a couple that came my way already. So
Okay,
we're definitely we're going to
Oh,
get into
really?
that.
You ain't telling me that.
I know.
Okay.
So
Cool.
so we want to thank everybody for checking us out on the show this week, and we'll check
Kristen's in the shower, guys.
y'all next week, and make sure you check out the 10-7 show every day at 7:00 right on newtwistradio.com, as well as the Tempo
Everybody take
Podcast,
it light.
24 Lifestyle, and everything else that we have on New Twist Radio. We'll catch y'all next time. We out of here.